Goodness to you, it's Sporty King. And you know I always say goodness because I don't know whether you're watching morning, afternoon, or evening. But isn't it great to have good in front of your salutation? Welcome to your it's the MMM, the Monday Midday Moment. To give you a boost during the day and keep you moving on your path to excellence. And we all know that excellence is a wonderful goal. It's attainable, it's repeatable, and it's a great moment. Today, I'll continue sharing thoughts from my personal experience and beliefs. In fact, I call it Know and Believe. And I'm bringing you my speaker tips. As a speaker, you can't always control the room setup. Yet, here are some visual connections that you can. Change sides of the stage. Stay center most of the time. If you're not in a walkable situation, continue to alternate which side you're facing. In other words, you don't have to split 33, 34, 33. You don't have to go left 33, center 34, right 33. But one thing you certainly cannot do is go left 40, right 50, and then center 50 and then right 10. So it's just a span of your neck. Okay, that's if you can't move. If you have to stay stationary behind a podium or a lectern. But if you can walk, again, be conscious and don't stand there and time yourself and say, okay, I've been over here 1 minute, let me go to the other one. Don't be a ping pong ball or a tennis ball, okay? But just slowly, maybe every 2 or 3 slides, you'll figure it out. You'll see what's comfortable. You'll see how the conversation, remember you're having a conversation with your audience? You'll see how the conversation is going, and you should be able to move accordingly. Of course, if you're new at it, just make yourself a mental note to just be sure not to stay on one side. Meanwhile, if you point to something on your slides, and the room setup has a large screen on each side, then you'll need to point on both screens. In other words, if you point something to the right, don't just point at it. As you see here, and then you never do it to the left. Well, the people over there don't really see it. There's a good chance they can, and according to how big the screen is. But you want to be fair to both sides. Here's a tip that you can do. Mention where you want them to focus on their side slide of the screen. So if you point on the right, then just say, as you'll see here on the 3rd line from the top, or 4th example from the right. And then still go back and point to the other one if you can. But this may be a good option for you. Just mention where you're pointing. And then try not to always start pointing on the same slide, on the same side. These, by the way, are tips that you can write into your notes to tell yourself, look, this is something I'm working on. So just say, point to the right. Don't look just one direction. Give yourself some screen instructions that nobody else can see. Okay? Meanwhile, realize, speaking of pointing, realize that there's no need to point your clicker at the screen if your slide doesn't advance. It's remote. You can just have it down at your side. You never have to even show the click. You can be cool and just have the click going on, okay? But if anything, point it toward the laptop because maybe the battery is low. But pointing at the screen is not going to make a difference. Point it toward the laptop. Okay? And finally, I believe that it's okay to pass in front of the light if a smaller room setup actually gives you no other option. You see, this restriction is often one where your audience is already more intimate. And your crossing over will be less of a distraction because the light will likely be on your body instead of your face. Don't stand there with it, pointing to your six-pack abs. Okay, just walk past, and it just cuts off the light for a second, but not on your face. And that'll give it that walkable touch that I mentioned earlier, that you're walking the room. Okay, so you don't have to just stand frozen in one side. I don't care how small the room is. Someone says, well, it's small. There's no. If you can walk, walk. Let's make that the rule. Okay, but if you can't, then you stay there. But just try to do that. Okay, so know and believe. See, these are positioning tips. So know and believe that you make a difference most when you put yourself in position to shine and share. I'm Sporty King, and this has been your MMM, your Monday Midday Moment, to give you a boost during the day and keep you moving on your path to excellence. And especially as you share your life, I want you to know and believe in yourself. Have a wonderful week.